The last place I wanted to be was Frostnipistan.
This one's wife. Total crap. More problems for this one's wife. This is reported in the Daily Mail by Emily Lefroy. Emily writes as follows. Former Vanity Fair editor-in-chief Tina Brown has shared her honest opinions about the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, with the journalist alleging that this one's wife has the worst judgment. Oh dear. She's speaking the truth. This one's wife does have terrible judgment. After all, here is an individual that had the world at her feet. A woman who very few people had heard of, a mediocre actress of average looks, who found herself propelled onto the international stage as a consequence of managing to ensnare a ginger dimwit. The world was her oyster. She had access to wealth, privilege, esteem, a staff that was there to undertake what she required. She had the machine that was the British royal family. And whilst, of course, for many people who would not be involved in royalty, certain adjustments wouldn't be necessary, ultimately, the prize is well worth it. Look at the situation for Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, or Catherine, Princess of Wales, both of whom have married into the royal family, have adjusted to its needs, conventions and protocols, and have come out the other side, well-liked, popular, and providing valuable roles in terms of service. We all know why this one's wife fucked up. As I've repeatedly explained, her narcissism was brilliant at getting her into the position, but it wasn't enough to keep her there. Rather than bolting on the institution that is the British royal family, she fought against it because her narcissism regarded it as a threat to her control, and her response was to be problematic, smearing, doling out pity plays, bullying. The behaviours I've listed in different videos over a long period of time. Thus, it would be said that somebody who had such a fantastic opportunity, who buggered it up so monumentally, and ever since then has just engaged in repeated failure after failure, with increasing unpopularity, dwindling opportunities, clearly demonstrates poor judgment. And that's because she's guided by her narcissism, which is excellent at getting what it needs in the moment, but for somebody so prominent as her, it creates so many collateral consequences that it means that she then gets another verbal kicking in the newspapers, another highlighting of her inadequacies, more ridicule, and thus demonstrates that she has terrible judgment. It's because of her narcissism. Tina Brown appeared on the Ankler podcast with Janice Min to promote Brown's new Substack newsletter, Fresh Hell. The journalist, who famously described Megxit as a disaster and accused the couple of being addicted to drama, used the opportunity to share her honest opinion on the former working royals. The trouble with this one's wife is that she has the worst judgment of anyone in the entire world, the author said on Min's podcast. That's a pretty damning indictment of her, isn't it? She's flawless about getting it all wrong. Ooh, Brown ranted. All of her ideas are total crap, unfortunately. Now, why is it that her ideas are total crap? After all, it doesn't mean that just because you're a narcissist, it follows that all of your ideas are total crap. Far from it. There are many narcissists that engage in the creation of brilliance. Your glorious narrator, for example. But there are performers and pop stars and writers and authors and artists who create fantastic and brilliant things, coming up with marvellous ideas. The reason this one's wife has total crap ideas is as a consequence of this. 1, she's not very bright. 2, she hasn't really had much world experience. 3. Her narcissism means that whereas some narcissists will see the advantage of stealing the credit of others or harnessing their idea and indeed improving on it, this one's wife doesn't. She regularly doesn't listen to what more experienced and more insightful people have to say because her narcissism tells her she knows best and she sees their input as a threat to control. She believes that whatever she comes out with is magnificent and wonderful and cannot be improved upon. Why? Her narcissism tells her this. Her narcissism regularly reminds her in the subconscious that she is this superior individual that has been placed on the earth to educate and empower all around her. That means that whatever she says is meaningful. You only have to watch her speeches, if you can get through them, to realise this is such a deluded individual that believes that whatever she has to say is really groundbreaking and is unique, when in actual fact, much of it is obvious, fridge magnet platitudes, or doesn't even make sense, word salad. Yet she believes that she's telling you something amazing and insightful that you'd never, ever come across before. And it's this mindset combined with her lack of experience of doing anything meaningful and her lack of intelligence that results in this broth of bullshit being created, this soup of incompetence, whereby she lacks the ability to realise her shortcomings, lacks the ability to realise that what she comes up with is total crap, and thus spouts it, resulting in the rant that Tina Brown is engaged in. Princess Diana, Princess of Wales' biographer and the author of the Palace Papers inside the House of Windsor, The Truth and the Turmoil, described Harry as the lamb to the slaughter in this situation. And he just sort of blindly followed her like a child, really, she said. Brown is no stranger to dishing dirt on the royal family. Her most recent book, The Palace Papers, was published in 2022. In 2007, she released biographical work, The Diana Chronicles. In 2022, the author said the couple made bad choices and could have left the royal family on far better terms if they weren't as hot-headed when they made the decision to step back from their roles as working royals. The author also labelled Prince Harry a very impetuous man and revealed how palace advisors always thought he would leave. She said she was told it was because he was so fragile, so combustible, he was so unhappy, frankly, in the constraints of the royal family. However, she also noted that the couple's exit from royal life was a disaster all round. Thus, the observations from Tina Brown, the former editor-in-chief of Vanity Fair, who doesn't hold back in her observations, describing this one's wife as exhibiting the worst judgment, of being addicted to drama, that she is flawless about getting it all wrong, and her ideas are total crap. Sentiments I'm sure that many of you will agree with, and sentiments that of course arise as a consequence of the narcissism of this one's wife. Should she be aware of these criticisms from Tina Brown? They are of course challenge fuel. She won't see that they're legitimate. There may well have been some plates thrown around in Monty Shit Show, and once again we get to chortle as another prominent individual recognises and ridicules this one's wife. And, like so many others who have come forward to do so, not only are they correct in what they're saying, but they're coming forward in increasing numbers to share their views of this disaster of a woman. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.